So this practice test is homework, but of course you want to study it. It's not just about completing it. All the answers are posted already, and I'm making this video right here, right now, to explain how to do these. Number one, the very first thing to do when they ask you to evaluate is to replace your letters with the appropriate values. So I'm going to plug in the A value of 12 in red. I'm going to plug in the B value of 9 in blue. And I'm going to plug in the C value of 4 in green. So as you can see, I plugged it in with the appropriate values. Okay guys, so on number one right here, we're going to focus in on the numerator. And on the numerator, we're going to start by doing either multiplication, exponent, subtraction, or multiplication. Obviously, we're going to be doing exponents. So we're going to do 4 to the third. And 4 to the third is 4 times 4, which is 16, times 4, which is 64. So what I want to do is rewrite this whole thing, but with the 64 instead of the 4 to the third. So obviously I'm using different colors here so you could see my different steps. I would definitely put a multiplication right here so you don't make a mistake and think that it says 264. So up on top we still have multiplication, subtraction, and multiplication. We are going to multiply from left to right. 2 times 64, that is 128. So let me rewrite everything, but with the 128 instead of the 2 times 64. And then after that, we are going to also multiply right here, 12 times 9. And 12 times 9 is 108. So let me write the 108 right there and rewrite everything. And 128 minus 108, 128 minus 108 is 20. So we really have 20 divided by 2, and my final answer is positive 10. That's number one. Jumping to number two, let's plug in those values. So notice that I rewrote everything except the values of B, C, and A. I left blank spots right there to plug them in. So there are my values plugged in with their appropriate colors. Of course, you don't have to do different colors. I would put a multiplication sign between the 5 and the 12 because that's what's truly happening up here, 5 times A, so put 5 times 12 right there. So we have multiplication, we have parentheses with subtraction in there, we have exponent, subtraction, multiplication. We are going to begin with parentheses and do whatever's inside. 9 take away 4 is 5. Then you rewrite everything else. And after doing parentheses, we move on to E, exponents, and we have exponents right here, 5 squared. 5 squared is 25, and then again bring down everything else. Of course, put a multiplication sign between the 2 and the 25. So 2 times 25, because at this point we're faced with multiplying, subtraction, and multiplying. Let's do multiplying, but from left to right. So let's go 2 times 25, that's 50, and rewrite everything else. And of course, 5 times 12 is 60, so let's rewrite it. Here's the 60, let's bring down everything else. And final answer, 50 take away 60 is negative 10. Let's move on to number three. Number three, here we go. So I rewrote everything, and I'm going to plug in my A, B, and C value into those blank spots. And of course I'm multiplying right here because it was 2 times A. And we have everything written out. We start with parentheses. Parentheses tell us to zoom in and do anything possible. 9 plus 4 is 13. So let me write that 13 right here and then rewrite everything. Then after that, we have multiplication between the 12 and the 13 and multiplication here. So it's all multiplication. Let's just go from left to right. When I go 2 times 12, I get 24. Then you rewrite the 13. And we're going to multiply 24 times 13, and that answer should be 312. So there's our answer. Now, of course, we're not able to use calculator, so you might have to set up that long multiplication. Let me do that for you right here. I would say 24 times 13, and you would say 3 times 4, that is 12. And then 3 times 2, that's 6, plus 1, that's 7. And then you go 1 times 4, that's 4, but you put the 4 right below the 7. And then 1 times 2, that's 2. Put the 2 right there. And of course, we add them up. The 2 comes down. 7 plus 4 is 11. And 1 up here, the 1 up there plus 2 is 3. So 312 is our answer. It's the answer we had right there. The next three questions, write an algebraic expression for each verbal expression. We need to read the words, understand what we're doing. Decreased by, that means subtract. Now, we do not switch the order, so you simply bring down the 30 and then minus. And what are we subtracting? We're subtracting twice a number. Twice of anything is to multiply it by 2. So twice a number, you could put a 2n, you could put a 2x, and that's your answer right there, 30 minus 2n. The next one, 1/3, that is the fraction 1/3. And then 1/3 of what? The square of a. So they tell you to use the base a, and you're going to square it. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your answer. Number 6, 18 more than. More than means plus, and the word than specially tells us to switch the order. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have circled it, but yeah, than is important because it tells us to switch the order. What does that mean? That my 18 is not going to be, it's not going to be on this side of the plus sign. It's actually going to be on this side of the plus sign. Okay, let me put that 18 right there. Now, what gets switched over? What do I have over here? Over here on this side, I have the square of a number, and that square of a number is going to go on this side. Now, remember, square, I may actually remind you of that. The word square implies the exponent of 2, the power of 2. Okay? So the square of a number, that's simply going to be a number, and you could put whatever you want, like n or x, and you need to square it. So once again, the words more than imply a switch. 18 goes over here, this goes over there. Let's move on to number 7. So number 7, 8, and 9, simplify each expression if possible. If not possible, write that it's simplified already. So number 7, obviously we have distributive property, but before doing distributive property, we need to remember that parentheses tell us to zoom in and do any math possible. So you're not going to multiply before parentheses. You got to do parentheses first. So inside the parentheses, we have 3p plus 4q minus p. Could we actually do anything in there? Yes, we could actually combine like terms in there. There's the 3p that I could combine with the minus p. So 3p take away 1p, because there's really a 1 right there. 3p take away 1p is 2 of those p values. And of course, I'm going to bring down the plus 4q. Sounds like a bad word. Hey, 4q. No. We have parentheses here. Let's bring down everything else, which is just a 5. And now we do distribute from the outside to the inside. So 5 times 2p is 10p. 5 times 4q is 20q. And ladies and gentlemen, we're done. That was one of the rare times that we combine like terms before distributing, because it's inside the parentheses and you could actually combine. Number 8, there is no distributive property, but we can combine like terms. As a matter of fact, all of them are alike. They're all W terms, right? So 10W plus 14W, so far that's 24 W's. But then you have to take away 2W. So let me write that. Take away 2W. So 24, take away 2W, that's 22 W's. And that's your answer there. You could actually combine all three terms because they're all alike. Number 9, 15p squared plus 3p squared. Again, they're the same exact terms, so we can combine them. 15p squared plus 3p squared. That's a total of 18p squares. I'm pretty sure that on the multiple choice, they're going to try to trick you and put a p to the 4th, right? Because you're thinking, oh, I need to add 15, add 3, add 2, and 2, add 2. That's wrong. When you're adding, remember, you're thinking of 15 of these guys plus 3 of these guys. It's going to be 18 of those exact guys, right? 15 bananas plus 3 bananas is 18 bananas, not 18 bananas squared, right? You don't mess with the exponents unless you're multiplying. That's when exponents change. This final section, well, now we have 2 more sections on this front side. It says use distributive property to rewrite each expression, then simplify. So on number 10, let's distribute. And we had this in our homework, or one similar to it. 30 times f, that's simple, that's 30f. And then 30 times 1/5. If you're confused with that, go ahead and do it on the side. 30 times 1/5. We know that multiplying numbers times fractions is easy. You simply make it look like a fraction. And then you can multiply the top with the top. 30 times 1 is 30. and the bottom with the bottom. 1 times 5 is 5. And of course, this is a fraction which is actually able to be divided, right? 30 divided by 5 is what? 6. So your final answer is 6 right here. So 30f plus 6. Okay, once again, 30 times f, 30f. 30 times 1/5 is 6. We did the work over here on the side. Moving on to number 11. Now, sometimes we distribute from the left side in, sometimes we distribute from the right side in. So let's distribute that 9. 9 times 5y, that's 45 with the y. Then 9 times 3, that's 27. And of course, there's a minus sign right between them. So your final answer is 45y minus 27. Let's move on to number 12. We're going to distribute from the left in. So m times n is exactly that, mn. M times minus 8 is going to be a minus 8 with an m. Too easy. Number 13, Pemdas. Start with parentheses. Parentheses tell you to zoom in. 1 plus 5 is 6. And then I would keep the parentheses there and rewrite everything else. So let me rewrite everything else. So at this point we have 2 times 6, which is 12, and 3 times 5, which is 15. So 2 times 6 is 12, 3 times 5 is 15. I brought down the minus sign. So I really have this problem right here. 12 take away 15. 12 take away 15 is negative 3. 12 take away 15. You have $12, you owe $15. You can't even pay them completely off. You still owe them $3. And that's it for the front side. I'll do a separate video doing the back side of this practice test. It's almost identical to the test, guys. Study. Let's get an A.